What? Bindel? Julie Bindel? What the fuck, man? Why can you get virtual? What do you mean otherwise?
I will literally get on the train to wherever shithole you live in and kill you. And then I'll be defended by Justice for Women.
Right, let's get on with it then. Swearing, come on.
Are we on? Are we on? Well, first of all, did your dear old mum ever wonder why you didn't get a real job and, in fact, instead applied or were even headhunted to be the swearing consultant on Thick of It?
It was terrible because all my success came after she died. She died in 2006. And it was a really shitty year for all sorts of reasons. Cancer, I had cancer and all sorts of stuff. And so the first thing I got, when I got the Emmy, I thought my first impulse was to ring her up and say, she's been dead for years now. So she only knew that I had shitty, routine, ordinary jobs. I think she was alive for, I think, the first three Thick of It, I think. And then,
right.
But yeah, I mean, we were having a conversation in the past about swearing in families because we both come from a working class family. And
did you swear in front of your mum?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think I don't think I ever said anything, top of the shelf to her or to my father. Not that it really mattered with him, but
what would your limit be? Where would you stop?
Well, where did you stop? You would not swear in front of your parents, right? I mean,
no.
You didn't then, did you? Really? I mean,
I'm 58, so that's the generation that I am. They're working class in the northeast of England, decent, hardworking, working class people, but there is absolutely no way on this earth I would ever go above bloody. Yeah, I wouldn't even go to bastard.
Yeah. Bleeding bastard, yeah. I'm sure I used the word bastard, but then I was thinking how different it is because I moved away from Essex, which was where I grew up, and which is a very sweary environment. I remember saying to you that I was appalled because we wouldn't swear in front of our mum, but the next generation down, like my nephew, and he swears in front of his family, calls them little fuckers and everything. It's really kind of horrible. But then I remember that we had quite a sort of hippie, sweary household when we were bringing up children. So they heard a lot of bad language all the time. They were just told not to say it in front of Nanny Jean. Just don't.
But swearing at your kids, but swearing in front of your kids, is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
But calling you, but actually angrily swearing at your kids.
Yeah.
It just sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
you nearly went there.
I mean, my mum used to say that again.
You nearly went there, didn't you? Calling your children and then you veered off. Which we got a first person. Well, which one of us is going to be the first person to say the word that we're obviously going to go to?
Well, obviously, as a feminist, it's supposed to be that the word cunt is an absolute no-no. That you can't reclaim it ironically, you can't say it in jest or in anger. But actually, it's not as simple as that. If a man were to use it as a misogynistic slur, that would be completely and utterly atrocious. But otherwise, all bets are off. I mean, bitch and cow are the two words that I absolutely hate. And if any man, and in fact, when women say it, it just grates on me. They're two words that I cannot abide. But cunt, you can use it as, for fuck's sake, what sort of a cunt do you think I am?
Yeah.
It can be said with affection, it can be said with humour, but if it's said in anger, now that's a different thing.
Or the Scottish way, where cunt
as a comma.
Substitute for one. So it's every cunt knows that. Or you can tell that to any cunt. And
lovely wee cunt.
Yeah, you're a lovely wee cunt. Perfect, yeah. So what was the question? How do I become a swearing consultant? Was that the question?
Yeah, that is the question. It's the only question I've got. Go on, make the most of it.
Because we've only got about another 22 minutes to kill. We're absolutely
Yeah,
laughing.
but normally we're eating and drinking, so this is a sober experience.
I've got a glass of wine.
Cheers.
What's in that?
Water. I ran out of gin just beforehand. Oh, I know, I am a wanker. I'm a bell end. But all I actually had was Metaxa, and there's no way I'm drinking Metaxa at 4:30 in the afternoon.
No, fair enough.
So answer the fucking question.
So, my brother and I were doing a sweary website about turn of the millennium 2000. We launched this thing called Martian FM, and it was an interesting time because you felt this great liberation in satire on the internet. Nobody was reading it, so you could say what you like, and nobody cared, so you could say what you like. So it was this great, you could say, well, peepo, belly bum draws, it's all like that. You can say this now.
Yeah.
Pars out, fucking internet's up, let's have a fucking right, I'll go. So you were deliberately and over sweary doing it. So we did this sort of pop music feature every week called the Controversial Swearing Rap Millionaire, and they were always coming up on charges of like pussy dissing or illegal dropping or motherfuck or whatever. And there was used to do this Hansard late, like Hansard with the record of the Commons, transcript of the Commons debates, but ostensibly late at night when everyone was absolutely pissed. And there was a speaker at the time called Michael Martin, who was a very angry Scottish person. And you realise you can make him swear in this very sort of interesting and baroque way. And anyway, so Armando Iannucci saw the thing and got in touch. And we thought that was it. With about 102 people every week looked at Martian FM. We thought, oh fuck, it's Armando Iannucci. Now everyone's going to be looking at it. And it never changed. It was just the 102 people and Armando Iannucci. But he did say, I'm doing this thing. Would you like to be involved? And
this thing was the thick of it, yeah?
This thing, well, there was a thing before, but it wasn't. Yeah, I was in Palestine for a month and missed it. But then it was 2004 something, 3, 4, 5, 4. The thick of it, and it was the first time I'd seen a script and a proper script. In those days, it all came on Microsoft Word, but with track change and everything. And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, just do your thing, just sprinkle your sweary dust all over it. So the first line I got was Malcolm's on the phone and he's saying to someone, no, he's useless, he's fucking useless. And I just put an alt in and said, well, could he say he's as useless as a marzipan dildo?
Oh, my favourite.
And he said, he said, yeah, exactly, do that, just fuck up all over it. So I did that, and it worked, But what's interesting is that was the first thing. That was the entry swear. There's no swear words. It's marzipan and dildo. They're just
brilliant.
They're two unrelated nouns. The two things. When I knew we were doing this, I started thinking, did I do something on swearing? I remember gave a talk at the British Library on. About 12 years ago, it was always a swearing consultant, and the Guardian would bring it up every now and say, "Oh, there's been something about swearing in the EU. Could you do us 750 words on why politicians shouldn't swear or why they should swear?"
What an expertise to have, though, Ian. Really.
Not really. I mean, it's not an expert. It's not a unique expertise. It's an expertise I share with many of the writers. And that was the thing. It was a mythologizing by Iannucci. The idea of having a swearing it's quite a funny idea. But I mean, I did things other than swearing, and all the other writers did swears as well. So, it was just a little niche thing, but it was funny. It's going to end up on my fucking epitaph. But
this is the problem.
Yeah, but I know the thing's called the curse of swearing because it's followed me everywhere. But come on, I mean, as badges of honour go, it's quite good.
It could be worse, couldn't it? What's your favourite What's your personal favourite, though?
My personal favourites. Think of it, swear.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you exactly what that is. That's it's Jamie McDonald says it. Tucker's sort of feral second command. And Julius Nicholson, this kind of effete arsehole, has leaked confidential information to the press and ruined something. And they just found out that he's the source of the thing. And he calls him, he says, you mimsy bastard quisling leak fuck. And I was particularly proud of that because it's just four nouns and an adjective. And each now depends on the other one, and they all need the other thing. So yeah, bastard quisling, mimsy bastard quisling leak fuck. That's my favourite.
It is brilliant. I mean, you are, of course, brilliant in general. I've always said I would go straight for you. You're the only man I'd go straight for. But you've said that.
Doing that for fucking 12 years.
Look, you've always said that no man would have me.
Put out or shut up, mate.
Listen, do you want to know my favourite scenario? Right, when I said a very, very bad word, was the first time I ever did question time. So Dimbleby was in and out, making sure that everyone knew what the score was, knew how to do this thing. And all the others, they're all politicians and one business person who they'd all been on before. And he said, "Oh, Julie, I know you haven't done this before, and I hope you don't get offended, but if you're thinking of, getting a bit passionate about some of your views, really swearing isn't acceptable. I know it's pre-recorded, but things like fuck and, avoid that." He said, "Bloody's okay, but fuck." I said, "That's fine. How are we with cunt?" And of course, his face just froze. And then he laughed hysterically. But the Tory politician made a complaint, said it was unacceptable. Right. Said that I wasn't of the caliber that he wanted to be on question time with.
Oh, I agree with that, absolutely. I mean there was lots of other things like you in on fucking question time. The whole nation's fucked, isn't it? Invisible Harry, are you there? Because the other thing I remembered earlier on, when I gave this talk at the British Library, I had these sweary fridge magnets made to demonstrate the structural probity. They're there. Can you see it?
Oh my God.
Okay.
It is with beauty.
So look, all I did, I found these, my wife found the magnets for me. I just whacked them up quickly on the fridge just to give you an idea. Because I think the Your Story thing is all about, writing and whatnot. So you could see there basically how you got, like, very roughly, the sort of adjectival stuff on the left, the nouns on the right, and if you can find a noun that's a receptacle, like a pipe or an arse or a sack or a hole or a bag I'll tell you what, punnet was a good one. I made up this compound swear called which was cock punnet, which it sounds quite good. And it has an internal logic. I mean, it's surreal, but you get the idea that it's a punnet full of cocks, like it's a bag full of dicks or whatever. And that, in order to work a proper swear, it seems to me, it's got to have, even if it's surreal, it has to have some kind of internal logic. So I ask you, what the fuck is a cock womble? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Further, Your Honour, I asked the jury this. What is a wank puffin? It's meaningless. It has no internal logic, real or surreal. And with this, you can see how you would build up a reasonable sort of entry level swear. What you do need is something like irritating or sanctimonious, to just to leaven it. So you'd say something like, "You sanctimonious tube of minge plasma," or you know what I mean, just reading left to right. "I'm sure the boys and girls at home are having lots of fun with this. The old fridge magnets. It's a little peep into the world of swear building. So we've done that now. We've given them their. It's being recorded, isn't it? It's being recorded, so they've got that.
God help us.
Anyone needs a swear prompt lexicon? It's on here. It's there. Oh, well, sorry. Someone earlier. I said, has anyone got any questions for the blah blah blah? And they said, yeah. Can you give us what I want to sort of swear in front of my children, but I don't want sort of anything too mimsy or Americanized.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice would be, again, if you go back to this kind of clueless, sanctimonious, not cathetered, obviously, or fucking, or wanky, don't do that. Sniveling or whatever. But something's harmless. You go to what do they think's funny? Is Willie funny? Is Bum funny? You know, all that farting. Mm-hmm. That's always funny. So you just need to go like galloping, or what I put down? Galloping, bumbling, smelly, dozy, tittering, gormless, farting, screaming, and then the nouns are bum, willy, weed, bottom, pants, poo, spigot, flat, pump, sock, sack.
It's a real science to it.
Well, no, it's an art. It's an interesting question, Julie Birchall. And I'd say
let me tell you,
the science, really. But
if I was a bit younger, I would have to be running out to get the morning after pill, reading all of this stuff.
Would you?
I would.
I don't know what that means, but thanks. Probably.
Some of our viewers will know exactly what I'm talking about here.
Oh yeah.
All three of them.
Yeah. Yes. Where are we then? Yes. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from the sweary fridge magnets, a question of combining adjectives or adjectival phrases such as spunk clogged or dick swallowing or ass plunging with combination nouns that did not only complement one another but also intensify one another.
Well, you learn something new every day. Now, let me get back to my feminism, because
right, wake me up when this is over.
What I was always told.
I love feminism. They're fucking great. Germaine Greer, that I loved them. They were great. Yeah.
I'll see you after. What I was always told was that it's not ladylike to swear. Now, there is a double standard, isn't there? We all know it, that men are seen as more interesting, more kind of engaged, more nuanced, more edgy when they swear, but women are just seen like common old slags. And what's interesting about that as well, so growing up on a very working class estate and hearing some of the rough women swear, and then meeting upper middle class people or upper class people in later life and hearing them swear. So it was the lowest social class and the highest social class that always swore, but it was always unacceptable for women. But actually, it alleviates stress, doesn't it, swearing? It's not just for kind of fun or because you've got a potty mouth. If you were to plunge your hand
where's it going?
Well, if you were to get if you were to burn your hand on the steam, right? Yeah. I know. There's no good saying, "Oh my goodness, fuck." Or now this is where I think it does actually help you deal with pain. If you get into a nice cold shower, you screaming fuck, shit actually helps you cope with it. But my goodness, wouldn't, would it? No, so it helps you with stress. It helps you with stress.
I thought your wingly wangly path about feminism was gonna lead us to take us there anyway. Was going to lead to gendered swearing, and I find this interesting. You might not, but I was really struck by this. Do you remember Simon Ricketts, who died 2 or 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm, yep.
He was the first big Twitter death in our little Twitter bubble. And his missus, I think when he was still alive, his missus asked me to write something about fuck cancer, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote this thing, and then I think it was after he died when I read it somewhere. I can't remember, but I remember being at the funeral and it having been out there, you know, liked hundreds of times on Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
Let me just read it to you very quickly. Called "Fuck Cancer," and bear in mind that this is all just channeled rage on behalf of someone else who's losing someone dear to them. Okay, so it's called "Fuck You Cancer." Fuck you, cancer, right up the arse, up through your giblets, up the dark pass, up through your gizzard, up to your snout. Fuck you, cancer, inside out. Fuck you, cancer, you shit goblin, you. Fuck you up the tunnel. Fuck you up the flue. Fuck you with a horsecock or a really big salami. Fuck you, senseless. Fuck you, balmy. Fuck you, cancer, back and front. Fuck you, sideways, you gormless cunt. You dumb script error, you coding glitch. Fuck you, cancer, you pointless bitch. Right, that was the thing.
Brilliant.
Hey?
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
No. But I had I didn't have hundreds of people telling me that it was really good, but I had a sizable number. Loads of people liked it. Hundreds of people liked it, and I had one comment on Twitter from a woman saying, "Yeah, it's very good, but do you mind my saying, why does everything always have to be framed in terms of sexual violence?" And I've forgotten all the other stuff that anyone told me about how great it is, and I've never. This is the first time I've said it since that. And it's just it did that one comment as it completely shifted. And the more you look at it, the more horrific it is. You know, if in the context of sexual violence. I mean, I know it's just a stupid poem, but
it's a good question, though. It is a good question because, you know, and also I suppose things go so far with popular culture that there's no pulling back from them. So, you know, my favourite film is Godfather 2, and there's no point me sitting and analysing the fact that, you know, they've shot a prostituted woman dead in the brothel just for, you know, there's no point. And with the whole stuff about, you know, you'll get fucked and fuck you up the arse and I mean, I hate motherfucker. That's what I do hate. But for obvious reasons. But, you know, it's the point about the kind of fucking violent, you know, image is absolutely rooted in fucking as punishment for women and penetration being an absolute violation done by men to passive women. Absolutely, that's where it started. Yeah. And, you know, what are we going to do about it now except for acknowledge that is the case and not use it in that way towards women as kind of punishment words? Like suck my dick is vile. Suck my dick is never okay. But fuck you to me is now it's become something else.
Times change, and I think now back to the stuff we were banging out in 2000, and I just couldn't, write or say that stuff anymore because the sensitivities change. But I still remember this kind of epiphany of fuck when fuck transcendentally was this brilliant kaleidoscope of nonsense. It was 86, 87 in Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
The David Lynch film and the Frank Booth character. Remember the Frank Booth character?
That's right. And it did have a different meaning and a different level of horror linked to it, didn't it?
But I will just finish my sentence, if I may.
Well, look, you're a man under patriarchy, right?
Fucking hell.
You benefit from patriarchy. Yes, all men.
My dick. So, the Frank Booth character was, I mean, he would say lines like, "You fuck you, you fucking fuck," and that would be the whole sentence, right? Yeah. And you've got noun, verb, adjective, noun. You've got a whole anthology of fuck in one in one tiny little sentence, and I found that very liberating. It was a kind of apotheosis of fuck, I think, and nothing was after that. I don't know. So remember in The Sopranos, some poor fuck.
Yeah.
The poor guy is cleaning up the bits of food under the table of the wise guys. Morales says, "You she's fuck," and I love all that with a fuck at the end, you know?
Yeah.
With the whatever you stick before fuck. Like
Well,
or,
my favourite fuck, if I can be so bold, is I think it's the film Goodfellas. And I can't remember the character, but he'd just done a terrible job, and he clicked for a yellow cab and said, "The fucking airport." And I've got no idea why that made me laugh so much, but it makes me laugh to this day. This poor cabbie just drives up, and it's not the airport, it's the fucking airport he wanted to go to.
Yeah, exactly.
There are some perfect fucks, I suppose.
The other thing I was, because I knew, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. Now, you had done the magnets thing for the British Library, but I had completely forgotten that I had done a pitch for a kind of how to swear book in about 12, 13 years ago.
What, swearing etiquette or what?
Yeah, no, just really sort of, it's like a kind of connoisseur's guide to how to swear. But I had this section 1, a brief history of swearing, right? I can't remember ever doing anything, but there must have been bits here that I'd done. So the very beginning, there was this language called Nostratic, and it's basically nouns. You just shove nouns together. So I thought, what examples of primitive swearing? You know, this is thousands and thousands of years ago. How basic nouns could be arranged for effect, e.g., husband, pig, shit, cock, bean, etc. And I've got some sweary hieroglyphs, and then lost fragments of filth from the Odyssey and Iliad. Suppressed psalms in the Bible. I should do this book.
Bloody hell! Did it not come out?
Hang on. Look, Chaucer's Shakespeare, Dirty Bard of Avon, an excerpt from Milton's first draft of his masterpiece, Paradise Fucked.
What?
I've got
this is class stuff. We need that book.
We do, right? Yeah, but context is everything. Anyway, to get back to the thing. Obviously, it was you and me, because there's no one else out there. No one's listening to this shit. It's just you and me talking to one another. So there's this, and then there's the over the hedge to the next door neighbour, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you would say, if it's been raining, nice weather for ducks. You wouldn't say, fuck me, it's been shitting it down like a cunt, hasn't it? You know.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, we know as well, because with age, and it might be an ageist assumption, but with elderly people, you need, and by which I mean over the age of 80, you really would need to check whether it's all right to swear. For me, I'd be nervous about it.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
No, unless they did it first.
Oh, if they did it first,
then you're in.
Yeah. If they did it first, then the contest is on.
Yeah.
And it's always, I mean, if it's a fucking swearing contest, I'm definitely up for that, Julie Burchill.
I remember when I was at NME, I think at the time I was married to Tony Parsons.
Tony Parsons, yeah.
Yeah.
You were so much less uptight then.
Well, I was on a lot of coke. I know, I was on a lot of coke, that's the thing. Yeah. But I'm a different person now, it's funny.
You are literally a different person.
Well, can I say there has been a question in the Q&A box?
Oh, God.
Which says, greetings, Miss Burchill. Can you ask Ian Martin this question? Where are we headed? Also, a secondary question. Is it appropriate for a man to use the word cunt? Thank you, Pamela Armstrong.
I think we've answered both those questions, haven't we? Which is that it's impossible to know because things have changed so much in the last 20 years. But you would expect you'd expect the general trend to be that any gender-specific insult would be more frowned upon in 10 years' time than now. Yeah. And of course, it's entirely appropriate for a woman to use the word cunt. I think Miss Burchill has used it several times during this brief conversation.
She has.
Well, like I say, bitch is horrible, and if men are using it about other men in particular, it can be very funny. We know when it's used against us as a misogynistic slur.
Yeah.
I would also like to say that Ian, I agree with Julie, and I don't know what anybody else watching thinks. You need to pitch that book, and I know who you need to pitch it to because Georgina Morley is coming in at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. She's coming in.
Get in there.
And she's a non-fiction editor. So she's our next event. She's in at 5:30. Sorry, she's in at 5:30 to segue. And I think, oh no, this book needs to be written. Don't you think?
Seriously,
Julie?
I mean, it was
Totally.
This was one of those things, when Ian Martin swearing consultant was everywhere for about 18 months, and I vaguely remember putting it in as a book pitch, and then did something else. I did another book, and then there's some telly stuff.
I think that needs to be your post-vaccination project. I think you need to put that book in.
Absolutely agree.
I would love, let me just say, I would love to, the Bible was cleaned up by the early church, find out why. Here's one of the suppressed Psalms. I mean, obviously.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I'm going to send Georgina Morley this video and tell her, and your email address, and you will get.
T.S. Eliot's pre-anagramized love song of J. Alfred Pro-fuck. This is gold. This is golden rain.
Rachel,
are we off now? Are we off?
We're just about to go off.
Rachel, before you go, could you see if you get me a book deal on the strength of me doing this for half an hour with him? I want to write a book about how I'm not Julie Burchill. Do you think you could get me a deal?
Do you know what? We'll ask Georgina at half an hour.
Please.
I have 2 book proposals for you from
Perfect.
Julie Bindel wants to write a big book saying I am not Julie Burchill, and Ian Martin's.
I have one final, much more brilliant idea, which is to pitch to Julie Burchill the idea of a book that she writes, which is Why I'm Not Julie Burchill.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It'll make me ill.
And on that point,
I want an Emmy for this shit.
This is amazing. And on that point, we are going to say goodbye.
I'm off to the off license for gin. Bye.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, both of you.
Bye.
And you can stay around for Georgina Morley, everybody else, in half an hour and learn about editing. And we can pitch in the Q&A. We can pitch Julie and Ian's books.
Well, hey.